Hey, what's up, fam? And welcome back again to Recap Kickback presents It. Welcome to Derry. That's right, it's me, your host, Chappell, and I am back again to talk to you about this horror television show that took the world by storm last year that we're just getting around to talk about here on Recap Kickback with full spoilers. Okay. And so, with me, I had to bring in an expert on all things Pennywise and Stephen King back again to talk about episodes 2 and 3. Latonya Starks. Latonya, welcome back.
I'm so happy to be here. This is such a fun time for me just to hang out with you and talk to you about this show. It is
Mhm.
greatly needed um, this day and
Latonya, it's
many
such a
days.
grim topic. It's such a grim topic that's bringing you so much joy. Explain to the listeners why you're so dark and twisty.
Well, I think it would go back to my childhood.
Mhm, mhm,
My aunt, who everyone knows has passed away,
mhm.
was a big horror fan, and and she also was a big fan of my mom having a boy. Um, so they wanted a boy. I turned out to be a girl, but they just decided to socialize me as a boy. So
Mhm.
I watched horror movies starting at like 3, along with like every sport you could possibly name. But yeah, we would go down on Saturdays downtown and we'd see matinees of like old school classics like the Freddy Krueger movies, the Jason movies. Like it was just so much fun. And so much of my love for horror is wrapped up in my love for her, and every time I see something like this, I know she would have loved it. It makes me happy.
Well, that's incredible of a story because, I can see the joy in you when we talk about the dark and twisty things. As y'all know, I don't have no touching back story when it comes to this horror stuff. People trying to scare me and I don't like it. Luckily, Latanya is here and she really does enjoy talking about these things. And she was the reason why I decided to watch it, Welcome to Derry, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. And so, Latanya and I are back again to talk to you full spoilers about this season of television, but we're going to break it down about 2 episodes at a time. And so this episode, we are talking about episode 2 and 3, titled The Thing in the Dark, and Now You See It. And so let's go ahead and jump right into the world that we've brought into. Latanya, I really thought after last episode that we would wake up to some dream sequence of this poor girl Lily. Like there's no way she went to the movie theater and watched all her friends get murdered while Ronnie was trapped in the film room or whatever. There's just no
Hmm.
way that happened. That's not how you start a show that is surrounded, that is circling the lives of these kids, right? These kids are the main characters. There's no way you would kill them all, and they did.
Killed all of them.
Yeah, well, most of them.
What most of them, but and with a like familiar name in there. One of the
Mm-hmm.
kids is a last name Uris, like
Mm-hmm.
Stanley Uris that we meet in the It movies. So you know, because of that, even like hearing their names and like realizing who they were, I was like, oh, these will be the group that we follow. Nope, whole new group of kids after just one episode, and Lily is having a nightmare about all of it and waking to see that it actually happened. It's real life.
Yeah, and this is tough. It's tough for Lily because we will find out throughout this season that Lily has been to the crazy house before. Okay, she's been to Juniper Hill. Probably dealing with how she lost her dad. He died in a tragic pickle accident. I know it sounds crazy, but that's just what happened. And so, knowing that, she ends up going to Juniper Hill, and she does not want to go back. And everything about this night, her friends getting murdered and her like by a demon baby that came out of the TV, like the movie screen, is
Hmm.
destined to send her back to Juniper Hill.
Oh yeah, I mean, wouldn't it send just about anyone?
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. And what do we expect from this girl? Like anybody in their right mind would be in their wrong mind after something like this.
yeah, it's so traumatic, and the fact that she was trying to save the youngest one of all of them
Mm-hmm.
and walked out of the movie theater. She's still alive and she's still holding that baby's hand. Like that in and of itself is a reason to have a panic attack every time you have to touch something or like
Mm-hmm.
shake someone's hand.
Ugh.
So seeing her have these nightmares and us knowing that it is behind all of this, while all the adults, the adults in this universe, just the worst people that you can think of.
Yeah.
So yeah, I feel bad for her. But did you notice the what happened right after the nightmare?
Yeah, didn't we get the title sequence? For
We
the first time, we
for the
got
first time.
the opening credits. And what do you think about this kind of like eerily whimsical look at the time period that they were in Derry?
I love it. I love it. I love all the music in this show because I was like raised on oldies.
Mhm.
So I know the words to most of the songs, but this is another Patience and Prudence special. Like
Mhm.
the girls who sang Tonight You Belong to Me of American Horror Story fame.
Mhm.
Um, and I if you want to have a laugh, just like type in this theme song and then like people you will find nothing but people dancing to it because that is what I do every time this song comes on. It is a bop. I don't care what anyone says. And there's a hilarious remix of it on TikTok. Um so I think it's fantastic how they are able to marry this like this song with these graphics, and the graphics you'll start to notice are like taking you through all the auguries or the 27-year periods where Pennywise attacks. And to go from a waking nightmare to that theme music is the most hilarious thing in the world. The first time it's genius. The first time it happened, I'd laugh my ass off.
I didn't laugh, but I was like, "Oh, this kind of show we doing, okay?" It's kind of this is that eerie stuff that we're talking about, right? Like, um, jovial white people sometimes can be very scary. I gotta
Hmm.
understand that white people find great fear in black people, but like the happier the white people are, sometimes I'm like, all right, like, why are you so happy in this town? Like something's off. And I think that
Put on Sweet Caroline in any bar,
hey, it's a bop, okay? It's a bop, okay? The
and
whites
then
were right
you'll
about that
see.
one. They were right about that one. But no, seriously, even in a lot of the horror movies, it's like the scariest thing that somebody can do is smile at you, right? It's not so
Hmm.
much the grimace on their face, but it's like the menacing grin when Lily is brought to Juniper Hill, even. It's like the
Yeah.
fact that they're smiling makes it even more like if they just look normal, or even if they look angry, like, oh my God, I hate being at work. But to take that much glee and putting somebody in an asylum essentially, it is very off-putting, and I feel like that's the same vibe I get when I watch that title sequence.
Then it did its job. It's exactly what it was intended to do. I mean, and also I want to have people who are like maybe watching along for the first time, or like you've seen it before and you're learning some new stuff. This as the episodes go on, they do something, and I don't want to give it away, but they do something with how the theme song sounds
I
that
mean, this is full spoilers. I think you can give it away if you want.
okay, so they do like it gets more and more distorted
Mm,
every episode. So like, it's very plain that like there is this happy veneer that has been drawn over this town, but there is a very sinister underbelly, and it's not even an underbelly so much as it is just like the vibes are off. Like, you know, and also in this show, if someone is smiling at you most of the time, it is because Pennywise is like
mhm,
making you see that. So you can the whole point is to like make sure that you as a viewer are off kilter and don't
mhm.
feel like you feel extremely unmoored by everything that's happening to you, and if that's happening then they're doing their job.
Yeah, and we get very quickly into the crime here because yeah, a bunch of kids were murdered, and the only witnesses were these two girls. One didn't actually witness it. Ronnie was not in the room when it happened, but Lily was. And
Hmm.
so knowing that this young white girl was the only person seen in the building while this was happening, she's the eyewitness account, then this clearly would make her the number one suspect. Nope. Somehow this has trickled down to the black man who wasn't even at work that day.
Yeah. This is in America, this is Derry, is like an actual line from this show. Like
Yeah.
and honestly, it's one of those things where like you asked me during the first episode how I felt about like seeing more black trauma on screen.
Mhm.
This is one of the shows that subverts it in a very interesting way, because the just evil that is racism and like white supremacy is the reason why this entity, like this supernatural evil, is like attracted to this place, because there's so much enmity in like people's hearts, and he can feed on that literally. So it really is like showing you how unfairly certain people are always treated and always have been treated in this country, while at the same time being like it, and isn't it ridiculous?
Yeah.
Because it can cover for the worst of evils.
We get to meet one of the main black families in here. Well, reintroduced ourselves, I guess, to Hank Grogan. He is our number one suspect here for a crime he was nowhere in the vicinity of committing. And we meet his mama, Miss Llewellyn, and we meet, of course, his daughter Ronnie, who we saw in the first episode. Ronnie's creeping around the corners, listening in on her dad and Granny as they're arguing, because Granny's kind of like, this baby got to go back to school. Like it's time. She can't keep running from these people. Like you can't let these, very much like that old sensibility of just like, we got to move forward. We got to push through and we won't be bullied. A lot of those, I remember hearing the sentiment like, oh, we are not our ancestors, back when a lot of the racial tensions were happening years ago. I'm like, no, because they were fighters. Okay. Like they were willing to push through, because baby, I'm actually not going to school. I'm with her dad. Like, hey, you accused of murder. I can kick it at home. I'm fine. But my grandma was like, nah, we're not going to be bullied by this town and just take it lying down, because we know that Hank Grogan is not guilty of murdering all these kids. In fact,
Right.
there's no bodies to even speak of, so they don't really even have any evidence against him. The one thing that they have against Hank Grogan, my little headline here says, I should have known, is that he doesn't have an alibi. He was missing. He wasn't at work, but he can't quite tell us who it was that he was with, or where he was at. And Latonya, I'm not even gonna lie to you. I love a good mystery. When I watch the Scream movies, I am in there like picking it apart, because I want to know who did it. I want to beat them to it. I want to know who did it, where they did it, how they did it. So I was like, bet we got to figure out where this black man was at, because I know he was lying and he was probably with a white lady, because this is one of those types of shows, right? It's one of those racial tension shows where he's like kind of like sneaking off to be with a white lady. But I was like, but which white lady is it? And Latonya, I was disgusted when I found out this fool then fell in love with the crazy janitor lady at Juniper Hill. I was like, God damn it. What? Why? Why? You can't, there's not no viable, sane white women that you could go and get lynched for. Like you go get lynched for the crazy lady. Let's tell you, I was appalled because I missed it. I did not realize it was her until it was too late.
Yeah. Her being Ingrid Kirsch, who is played by Madeline Stowe, who was like a staple on television screens in the 90s, and movie screens in the 90s. So yeah, she appears in this episode, and we see her being like kind to Lily, right?
Mm-hmm.
But everything is not always as it appears. And the story with Ingrid Kirsch goes back very far. And yeah, she is an absolutely insane person. Like she fully believes that Pennywise is her father.
Mm-hmm.
And that he comes back every 27 years to see her, as long as she, remembers to feed him. So all of this is her fault. All of it is her fault. And
Mm-hmm.
Ronnie's dad is like risking not just his life, but his child's life for this woman. His mom's life, his whole family's life for this woman.
And she's very clearly crazy. Like, that's the thing too. Like, I wrote her off because I was like, surely it's not the crazy lady. Like,
okay, we have to stop calling people crazy.
Okay, but this lady crazy. And here's why. Because when Lily goes to Juniper Hill, because she will end up there because of an unfortunate pickle accident, she will end up back at Juniper Hill because, of course, this little girl didn't destroy the supermarket running from the pickles. Okay,
I
so
don't know why unfortunate pickle incident
is
makes
that not what happened?
no, it's
Okay, let's just call
exactly
it what
what
it is. She was
happened.
attacked by zombie pickles that are in the form of her dad, in her form of her mutilated dad, and she was trying to express this to the authorities. So of course they had to put her away. Nobody would believe this, and she gets it. Nobody would believe this. Nobody would believe this. She gets to Juniper Hill, and what do we see Ingrid saying? I believe you. I said, oh, lock her up. Lock her up too, because unfortunate pickle accident with mutilated dad corpse should not be something that you're like, no, I believe the impossible. I wrote that lady off as this man's mistress that moment because I thought surely Hank, in the time of racial unrest like it is right now, in a town like Derry that is like mean mugging every black person that walks into a room, you are not going to travel out in the dark of night to go be with this woman who we will find out is married. I said,
married to the butcher.
Married to the damn butcher. Hank, you deserve whatever you got. That's all I'm gonna say.
That was the response from most of us the entire show. We were just like, I'm disappointed, but I'm not surprised, and you deserve to die for this. Like,
look, I don't want to wish death on nobody. Let me be very clear. What did you think was going to happen? Were you and her going to just run away together and leave Ronnie behind? Were you going to pack up you and Granny and save this woman from her husband? Like, and also she's a little wacky. Did you miss that part? How did you miss that part? Hank, are you okay?
No one ever suspects that their love interest is going to sick an interdimensional evil on their children. You know?
But within 3 seconds, I knew that lady. Latonya, it took one sentence. All she said was, Lily, I believe you. I said, well, I've seen enough. I've seen enough.
And we see where Lily's been getting the charms from of the turtles.
Yes.
Because remember we talked about Pennywise's biggest op
the turtle.
being that cosmic turtle.
Yeah. Again, Lily, if you're sharing any of this story with the people, they're going to keep locking you up. It's like, all right, y'all, there's a clown and his biggest ops is a cosmic turtle. And I think our universe is built on the turtle's back in some weird way. There was a lot of cocaine involved. Y'all got to believe me. Lily, come on in here. Bring Ingrid with you and bring Hank. Because Hank, what are you doing? Ho, is you good? Is you good, Hank?
Clearly not.
Nah. I was astonished by this.
You still live at home.
Look, his mama lived with him. but for good reason though. But like again, that is something that revealed that is saved for much later on. But when I tell you, watching it back now, I was just like, in the moment, I just refused to believe that it was Ingrid that he was running around with. And so now watching it back, obviously you kind of can see, I guess, different moments, but I was definitely looking for what is this charming thing that this woman is doing to lure you in, or if Hank just bored. There's just not a lot of dating options maybe in Derry. Yeah. This married lady who works at Juniper Hill is like the best bachelorette in town. And I guess not even bachelorette, she's married. Yeah. So tough one for me. Definitely was not loving this episode. Now, from what I understand, Juniper Hill, the mental hospital, is like in a bunch of Stephen King's books, including It. There's like a John Kuntz or something like that, or like something like that. It's like one of the guards,
I don't think that I have as much familiarity with Juniper Hill as I do with Shawshank. That's for sure.
And Shawshank is just a prison.
It's just a prison. But like, a different type of, mental health care during that time in Derry, probably just lobotomies, so two sides of the same coin, really.
Yeah, we have more racial unrest, like a little bit, just a racial tension with the moving in of this other family. The Hanlons are moving in. We've met Leroy in the first episode, but in this episode, we will meet Will and Will's mom, Charlotte. And Charlotte is like the shining star of the series for me. She is
Yes.
everything that you want like a, I guess, supporting cast to be, because she is who she is, right? Like to me, she's like right is right, wrong is wrong, and I'm gonna fight for what is right. And I'm gonna call my husband on his BS. I'm gonna call the town on their BS, you know? And it's fun to watch, but I have to imagine that during this time, it's got to be very frustrating because, you know, when you are standing up for what is right, and the society is trying to keep you down, you got to deal with a lot of nonsense, right? You bricks to their car window. I mean, they've pretty much moved across the country for this job that, you know, maybe they wouldn't have had to if Shreveport hadn't gotten so hot. So I love seeing Charlotte here, but mostly because she is a fierce protector of her son, Will, who will be one of the main characters moving forward.
Yes, played by the fantastic Taylor Page, who, if you haven't seen Zola, I don't know what you've been doing. Just go watch it after you get done with this podcast. Just go watch Zola. She is so good in this part, and like I love her little accent work. You know, I love the way that she like pronounces things and like draws them out a little bit. How thoughtful she is. Like she's the one who tells her husband to get the telescope because he just keeps trying to throw sports things at this STEM kid.
Yeah.
You know, because manhood in the 60s or 50s, I guess
Gotta
this
play
is the
baseball.
50s. Gotta play baseball. It's America's
Got to.
pastime. So yeah, I just think Will is the most adorable kid. Will and Ronnie, like, protect them at all costs. They are so cute. And Will, the way that he like thinks, and he's just the way he describes like the stink bomb that's thrown on him and how he's just covered in stardust. I love that. It's so like, who thinks like that? And one of the sad things about all of this is, like, if you've read any of the books, you know what happens to his character in the future. And it's not great. So
Tough. I will say something controversial. I got him in my notes as Baby Dean Thomas, aka Baby Wesley from How to Get Away with Murder. He just Wes Gibbons. Yeah. But anyway,
that's so true.
the
Yeah.
thing, the part of the show that falls like the worst for me, the worst for me. I've talked about it before. I'm not really a YA kind of guy,
Okay.
and Will is too adorable. Like it gets to the point where you're like, oh, and that is not my brand of television. The ahs and oohs and oh my god, he's just a dreamer. Like you got, like no, friendship and love will conquer all. Like that just whoo, you lose me. And so Will, like it's cute, but Latonya, we're gonna have to track my annoyance with Will because by like, there's a moment where I'm kind of like, yeah, Will, yeah. But they're few and far between. So
listen, he's his father's son, like he's just like a smart, inquisitive little kid. I think that our like your mileage varies greatly for how like as opposed to mine, where I'm just like, my favorite types of things are like, like person protects child through
right.
like thick and thin. It's a tale of like found family, and you're like, why is there a child here?
Why are there kids in this
There's
story?
so
Where are
many
your
children
mama?
here. And
Somebody get these kids out of here. Go to school.
They do.
Sadly.
They do go to school. They still have to go to school.
Yeah.
Their school is terrible. All of the teachers are awful. I want Will to knock that one teacher down again for me, because he really did read her just by like being like, are you talking about the theory of relativity?
Yeah.
When you asked me about time, like what?
Yeah. See, I think maybe I hate kids like that because I was a kid like that, like a smart aleck. But I don't think Will, that's the thing. Will didn't mean it. Will was just like literally asking, like, do you want me to explain time to you?
Yeah.
Whereas when I said it, I was definitely like daring this lady to punch me. Like, oh lady, you think so I gotta teach you. Like that's how I would. So we were just two different types of children. Yeah. Like I think
I was way more of a Will. Like I was like every freaking day. God, I look back and I'm like, why can't I remember this? But every freaking day in the 7th grade, I would come to class with a new fact I learned from the Discovery Channel from my teacher.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm somewhere in the back of the classroom rolling my eyes at you. Like, but no, I had a teacher one time ask me like I forgot what I did, and she was like, "What are you like 12?" Like we were in high school, and I guess I was being childish. And she was like, "Grow up. Are you like 6 years old or something like that?" And I was like, "Yeah," because they let 6-year-olds in 10th grade, and immediately I was removed from class. Like, so, not the best. Not the best. I've come so far. Not mind you, also career teacher. This guy.
I know.
That's called karma. So speaking of, school, we do have these kids and they have their own little dramas going on. Marge is there, and Marge is in a tight spot, right? She is like on the cusp of being one of the cool kids. The patty cakes are kind of letting her in, but she's trying to bring her girl Lily in too. She's like, Lily, stop being weird and we can do this. But she's not exactly being let in. The head patty cake is kind of like, Marge, you could kick it, but a little bit, right? Like, you cool, but you're not cool enough. Marge recognizes that the bullying and talking down on each other, that's the stuff that gets her in good with the patty cake. She's doing mockeries of people and she's like talking trash. There's even that moment where that one girl's like, I think I got a crush on Scotty Mills. And you see on Marge's face, she's kind of like, hey, I see you, girl. And then very quickly, like, oh yeah, Scotty Mills sucks. He sucks. Boo, you crazy. Like I hate your relationship. Like, like you can do better. And that's what brings her in. While the one patty cake, head patty cake, I'm gonna call her Patty because I think that's her name. She like, hey, Joe, chill out. Don't get carried away. We can kick you out too.
So I think kids are great. But these type of kids, I can't with these types of kids. Like, I think that I posted online at some point, like, I can't wait to see what Pennywise does to the patty cakes, excluding
yeah. Look, spoiler alert, not enough. Not enough.
Not nearly enough.
Unscathed. Marge, one eye.
Marge.
Yeah.
The rest of them just got a show.
That's it. Yep. Yeah.
They won't even remember it.
They won't even remember it.
And they'll still be terrible people.
Then nothing's gonna listen. At the end of this, that is my thesis. At the end of this, they all end up terrible people and live happily ever after. And I don't like it. But we'll get to the end later on. Will shows up to class. It's his first day. He couldn't find it. Like we said, him and the teacher are kind of bumping heads. The kids are bullying him. We wonder if it's race related. It feels racial to me.
Feels like it.
Feels right, like what's racist that feels racist that might not be racist but is definitely racist is this. And so yeah, we're seeing him kind of have to navigate that, but he does make a friend. One of the standout characters of the season, Richie, is here, and we're about to have a tragic run with Richie from this episode on.
Oh God, Richie. I love that little kid so much. He is, first of all, I love that Richie is such a lover boy. He is just like totally in love with Marge, and it's the cutest thing in the world. Like, to the point where he was hearing music as she walked by with the rest of the patty cakes.
Yeah.
But he did, like, instantly, because bullies are going to be bullies, and so they of course pulled Will's chair out from underneath him, and his pencil rolls over to Richie, and he picks it up and he's like, huh, it's a good branded pencil. That's the type of thing I would have bonded with someone over. Like,
pencil brands.
Yeah.
What's your top 3?
I haven't used a pencil in a really long time because math, no. Pen brand though.
Okay.
I have I love a Pilot G2, but it has to be like the 0.7.
Latonya,
like
that was strictly rhetorical. I don't think anybody wants to hear what your
I don't care.
I am Ronnie, you are Will. I'm like, you're weird. You're like, yeah, take one to know one. You're here with me.
I know that at least one person out there is going to be like, yes, Pilot G2.
Oh no, the pen people are out there. I've met them. I work in academia. They're there and they are protective of those pens. They won't ever let them out of your sight. we do have to talk about when Ronnie meets Will. Ronnie gets detention because Lily is back in action. She's back at school. Ronnie's back at school, and Ronnie has some questions. You, when we talked, you said the demon baby came out of the screen and killed everybody, right? So
Mhm.
I just find it funny how that they think my dad did it when you witness saw the demon baby come out, and like clearly if you told them that, they should understand. I hear Ronnie, but I'm low key team Lily. Girl, what? You think I'm okay, they gonna believe that. Bet. Then what they gonna do? Then what do they do, Ronnie? They gonna go inside the movie theater and they gonna arrest the demon baby?
But it's like also, Lily, your worst fear came true, and you went to Juniper Hill anyway, for like under your own volition. And
Well,
also, you were
she didn't know
fine. You like made up a bed or two, and they let you out. Like, what? What's the
she
worst that
didn't
could
know
happen?
she didn't know the pickle incident was gonna happen. She was trying to avoid Juniper Hill at all costs, probably trying to avoid Ingrid as well. But she lost that fight. She ends up in there, but when she comes back, Latonya, that's when she's like,
Mhm.
all right, they already think I'm crazy. I'll go ahead and say it.
Yeah, yeah. Now that I've learned that there are absolutely no consequences for my actions, I can go and say that the demon baby, right? All right, demon baby, team demon baby on 3.
Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, the adults have other plans because the townspeople are really pressuring our police chief slash mayor. Is he both of those things? I'm not quite sure,
Who
but
even knows? This
yeah,
seems like the type of town that would have its police chief be its mayor.
right. Like the man in charge of all of this is the I guess he's the police chief, Clint Bowers, and he of course
Oh,
is going to
Bowers.
yes, he's gonna need some votes in the future. And so the community's like, well, we ain't gonna vote for you if you don't get to the bottom of this murder of these 3 kids. And to the bottom of it, if we don't, like, of course, persecute this black man for something he clearly did not do. And
Right.
so he like, damn, I gotta do that. Or I mean, I'm gonna lose my job. And also, people are gonna be really mad at me. So I should abuse my power by leveraging the fear this young lady has about going to the asylum by saying, hey, not only will you go to the asylum, but also you'll be our number one suspect. So Lily, you probably want to blame it on this black man.
Yeah. Um I Lily doesn't seem like the type of kid who would want to cause a fuss, whole Juniper Hill thing. But,
Mm.
for her to be like, I don't know, I just anytime anyone is tricked by the cops, I'm like, come on.
Yeah, but she's like 12.
Yeah, I guess.
At that age, and especially in this era, oh, the cops are your friends, like the
Oh,
cops are your
yeah,
friends. We should
if
all be
you're
joining the
white, yeah.
military. Yeah, like
Yeah.
they're pushing like even Richie believes it, like they're not just locking people up in America without any evidence.
That's so true. Yeah.
Yeah. And Will has the most iconic line of like, "Are we talking about the same
Talking about the same
America?"
America?
Yeah. So I mean, I feel Lily. Again, I'm not gonna completely protect her because Lily, what are you doing? Like at the same, but like
Yeah.
because
What
Ronnie has no other choice but to beg you for some type of admission here. But at the same time, if Lily is like gonna absolve Hank, she is the number one suspect easily, like far and away. It's her. What did you do with the bodies? That kind of thing. Those questions are gonna come up, and she has no answer because she didn't even do it.
Yeah, she didn't do it. She is very young. 12 is very young. So I can understand like never having really been in trouble in your life, and then the cops are saying that you're going to be sent to Juniper Hill forever because
For
bur- because you are going to be blamed. Um I don't know, but like the alternative is that you blame it on a black man that did not do it.
Right. Well, it's kind of like, does she just eat the charge? It's literally like, yeah, take me away, coppers. I'll never like fall. Like, just like they're about to pin it on her, and it would be easy to pin it on Lily because she already has the whole
It
pickle
would
thing.
be.
You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? So she doesn't actually say Hank did it, but she doesn't say without a shadow of a doubt that he wasn't there. And so
Mhm.
this is why the onus, as much as I would love to blame Lily, the onus still falls on Hank because, okay, Hank, here's your chance. Stand up for yourself. Tell me at least you're doing this for a noble cause. Like I was somewhere protecting the youth. I was
Mm-hmm.
somewhere, giving blood or something,
I was
like
getting a kitten down from a tree.
you know what I'm saying? But to find out that you about to eat this charge because you are ashamed, I mean, well, either way, he's going to the same spot as Lily. The truth is not going to do you any better than the lie, right? Like the lie is that you killed all these kids, and the truth is that you couldn't have killed all these kids because you were sleeping with a married white woman. You're going to jail. You're going to jail. You're going to Shawshank.
Like
You're
jail
going to
is
Shawshank, Hank.
jail is the upside,
Right.
Like that is the good possibility of what could happen to you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's absolutely wild. Like they really do have these two people kind of over a barrel, but I still respect Ronnie's right to go to that woman's house and yell at her through her window.
Absolutely. Somebody needed to yell at that girl's mama. Now, let's talk about what Pennywise is doing around this time. Pennywise, he's identified his new target as these kids, and I told you this in the first episode recap we did. I kind of want to focus on how he scares the kids. We saw him turn into a lampshade to scare one of the kids, and so now let's see. How does he focus on this new brand of child that he can bully? And the Ronnie one is very interesting. Ronnie's biggest fear here is apparently apparently like re-killing her mom in the womb. We know that Ronnie's mom died in the womb, and so her nightmare here is that she wakes up swimming.
Died giving birth.
Died giving birth. I'm sorry. She died in the womb. Anyway, yeah, like whatever. Her mom is dead, and it happened, and she thinks it's her fault. It's her biggest fear.
Right.
And so she has to relive that in the form of dream, where she bursts through the placenta, and then now she's out and like covered in viscera. The evil umbilical cord is trying to rope her back in, like whoop, 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 whoop. And then like zombie lady is talking like, you killed me, and now you're gonna kill your daddy, and we're gonna take you away forever. And I'll give Pennywise this 10 out of 10 for like creativity. Not bad.
Creative as hell.
Yeah.
Like it's not often that you see a lot of people get birthed, like rebirthed from their dead mother in cinema. Like that was so terrifying and gross, and also just wrong. That was like what it just felt wrong. Like how do you I feel like no one has gotten it as bad as Ronnie so far.
That was pretty bad.
That's better than the pickle. That's worse than the pickle incident.
Okay, here I'll defend the pickle incident a little bit because it was cartoonish, but also it happened in public. Like at least Ronnie got to scream and be like, it was a nightmare. Poor Lily. She didn't knocked over the this should be laughing. She had knocked over the like aisles and all. She done made a mess. And then like, oh, here come this girl in the damn pickles again. Like, at least Ronnie got to do it in the privacy of her own home.
That man told her, if you need help getting something from a high shelf, please let us know.
Everybody rolled their eyes like, here she go again. Like, God dang, you can't even have a pickle around this girl. Like, damn. So yeah, pretty bad. And then later on, we will see Pennywise again in the form of basically exactly what they wanted. So they will have this plan because now that Lily has seen Pennywise back in action and Ronnie has seen Pennywise, they can at least connect on, all right, we need proof or no one's gonna believe us, right? They'll throw me in Juniper Hill, they'll probably throw you in Juniper Hill too, and they still gonna kill your daddy. So we need to get some photos, and so they can't just go out and ask for a picture. So it's up to little Richie to come up with a seance of sorts. He says, we got to practice Santeria. We ain't got no crystal ball, so we're gonna have to figure this out. We go out to the cemetery, we light some candles, and then Pennywise reveals himself as exactly what they were looking for.
Is it Pennywise though?
Well, I mean, they're running from ghost versions of like.
They're running from
If it's not Pennywise?
No, because that is actually Ingrid.
I mean,
In
but
the,
is she sending like ghost spirits at them?
oh no, the ghost spirits are being sent by Pennywise.
Right.
But
That's what I'm
I
saying. Like he gave them what they were looking for. They
He
want
did.
thought.
I think that, we obviously Richie is a brujo and we just had no idea like this whole time. No, but Pennywise gave them what they wanted. And what I will say, like this episode 3 has probably the worst of the CGI that we'll be getting from the show.
Yeah, that was cartoony.
Yeah, it was like Goosebumps levels.
Yes, yes.
You
Are You
know?
Afraid of the Dark?
Yeah. Oh God, what a
Erie,
classic.
Indiana.
Yeah.
The big three.
The big three. Yeah. The Holy Trinity. Um,
Right.
but yeah, like uh, I don't like that scene. I get that it's like terrifying and we're supposed to like fear for them, but all I can I can just literally see them on stationary bikes, you know,
Yeah.
as leaves are being thrown in their direction.
See, I thought it was fascinating because um he gave them, like I said, he gave them what they came for. They came for photos of
Mhm.
of Pennywise doing like something that could absolve her dad and Lily, and this whole situation. But he did it knowing that they weren't going to be able to use those photos. I'll tell you.
Oh
Like that's
yeah.
the part that's cool to me. It's like he wasn't solely like, okay, let me scare y'all. It was let me scare y'all and then lull you into a false sense of belief that you actually got me,
Right.
when he didn't have to do that. He could have just murdered the kids, like send
Yeah.
the demon baby again and kill him.
Yeah, but like he wanted to make sure that he ruined any credibility that any of them had to ever go back to the law or any adult again. Like I mean honestly, it's kind of genius for that, but it's also like he loves the taste, like smell of
The
fear.
touch, the feel.
Yeah. The fabric of our lives
Exactly. That's
these
what fear
days.
is, basically. you know?
But he's like in it for the scare. And there's also the thing that like when you cross a certain age in this town, you can't even like see what's right in front of your face anymore.
Mm,
You kind of forget that like anything happened in your past. We have that like flashback in episode 3 to 1908, which will be a very important year to this show. Um, and we see like young Francis Shaw, right?
yeah.
But like he said that he only started to remember things because of some like extreme stuff that was done to him. Like he didn't
Mm,
have those memories anymore. So like as the adults grow up, if they weren't like terrorized by Pennywise, or even if they were, some of them they'll forget as they get older. So what may seem like damning evidence to the kids, like how can you not see this? The adults are like, what do you mean that light? Like what am I
yeah.
looking at?
Yeah. Because honestly, since we know this happens roughly every 27 years, there
Mhm.
should be some lingering, like, and there is. We'll see that with the Native Americans that are involved in
Yeah.
this. But there should be like a lingering lore of just like, yeah, crazy stuff be happening here. And the Native Americans are saying it. They know. But as far as like everybody else, they're like, Demon Baby. That doesn't sound familiar. I mean, the only thing that we could compare that to is the, other 50,000 times this has happened, but like
Right.
they got nothing. And so yeah, I just thought this was so fascinating that like Pennywise was actually kind of like toying with them or playing with his food in a way, to kind of let them go out thinking that they had won this battle. But to your point, Ingrid was there too. We see Ingrid in the form of a clown.
Yeah. Twice in the episode.
Yeah.
The first time you all like it's a blink and you'll miss it. There's in the 1908 flashback, there is a little girl in like clown makeup who is like
Mhm.
sitting with a horn by herself. And flash forward, like that person is actually Ingrid Kirsch, whose father used to be a clown, like came from a whole clowning family. Her mother was a clown. She passed away. Her father was a clown. He disappeared. And she believes that every 27 years, her father comes back to her in the form of Pennywise to tell her that she's done a good job.
To say
I don't
hi.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I could not even imagine having this manner of daddy issues if I tried.
Wouldn't wish this on my worst enemy. Because in a way, her dad is kind of like her biggest op, but she don't even know it. But you're right. She's in the cemetery as well with them at the end, and so they will use this later on as evidence, as the one standing evidence that something weird is happening. Right, like all those ghouls and stuff will disappear, the dead children, but they will still have that physical embodiment that our little Dean Thomas here, Will saw in the crypt. Now, I definitely was yelling at Will as well because why did you go in there? Like, I get it, you're on a mission, but Richie said it best. Love make you do some crazy things. And if Will don't think he in love with Ronnie, Will, let me hold your hands real quick. Think back to what you just did. You went inside the mausoleum to take a photo of the demon for this little girl who you've spoken to thrice.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
This is why chivalry is dead. It's like officially
yeah,
dead.
because they died in a mausoleum. You know,
I mean, like honestly, I don't want you if you're not going to risk your life on my behalf.
I don't know where the love story ends for Ronnie and Will, but they better get married because he laid the foundation at this point. And yeah, lady, after he went to that crypt, I think you owe him at least a proposal, and you got to propose. Yeah, like he's done enough.
No.
Has he not done enough?
No.
Has he not done enough, ma'am? It is what 1950 something. Like, you know, it's a new millennium. You know.
And this is why there's a male loneliness epidemic.
Yeah, I mean,
all aren't willing to risk.
We're not willing to go out there and take pictures of demon clowns
give me money
for love.
Like
right,
that is the problem.
It's too much. It's too much. So that pretty much sums up what the kids are doing. I mean, they're really in a really tight spot because Hank is going to be arrested for this, and of course we know he is hiding his big dark secret as well. But let's talk about what the townspeople are doing. Like I said, we meet Rose here. It's a Native American woman who is a part of who we find out is like the guardians of this Pennywise lore. Like they know what's going on. They have this area kind of like barricaded off with these beacons to keep him inside of there, because if the monster gets out, he's going to ruin everything. And so they've done a good job of locking it down. But unfortunately, the military is coming in to disturb everything because they want to use Pennywise as a weapon, and it is led by our main antagonist that we thought the clown was the problem, but our main antagonist, General Shaw.
Yeah, that sounds right. I mean, our main antagonist being that man seems about right. Yes, I like Rose a lot. I like how smart she and like capable she proves herself to be in such a short amount of time. Like this show does a really good job of establishing characters quickly, but like with show not tell.
Right.
So we see her like saying her piece and knowing that like her word is gonna be bond essentially, and then just like getting up and leaving a tribal council meeting. We see her talking to her nephew and being like, I want to know what they are doing. And then like Francis Shaw comes through her door of her establishment and is like, remember me from 1908? When I was broke. I'm in the military now, so I'm worse.
Yeah.
So I have a lot of love for Rose as a character, as well as like, you know, her nephew and like what they actually do in how the story like ends up coming out at the end. And the partnership between the Native Americans and the like Black people in this show is kind of fantastic. So I'm excited for that in the future.
Yeah, we find out that Rose and Shaw go way back. Right after he ran into Ingrid at the carnival, he also, well, right before that, he had run into the House of Mirrors and like the Fun House, where everything was not fun. You had the conjoined twins, bearded lady, you know, et cetera, et cetera. And he ends up running up on a skeleton man, and skeleton man frightens him. And so when it's time for him to enter the forest playing with the Native Americans, he is chased down by the skeleton man, who is Pennywise in the form of him. And so Rose is able to save him using a slingshot. And then like tells him like, hey, you know, you can't be doing that. Can't go in the forest. There's a scary monster in there. He will then go to basically spend, it seems like, the summer with Rose and her friends, and seemingly come like some type of bond, potentially, I don't know, potentially romantic. I don't know. It just seemed like kids playing.
Yeah, they
But
were
when it,
12.
yeah, but when he's ready to leave, he's like, please don't just promise me you'll never forget me. And she's like, people just forget stuff here in Derry. Like, I'm sorry, like it's we got this weird thing. Like, you probably won't even remember me. And he doesn't. He doesn't until he comes back and he gets that good old cease and desist from her saying, like, hey, chill out, stop digging, because I can't tell you why, but you shouldn't be doing that. And his solution is, no, work with me, help me find the thing I'm looking for, and then I won't disturb what you're trying to protect or whatever. Later on, it will, you know, they will obviously be at loggerheads, I guess, where one is trying to stop this from happening, where General Shaw is actively trying to unearth Pennywise as a potential weapon against the Cold War. It's inventive.
I just the hubris of being like, you know, we know that your people colonized this demon. And like
They said, but we're the apex colonizer here.
but we really need it. So like we need it for stuff and things.
And things.
And Cold War.
Right, Cold
maybe.
War specifically.
The cold one. That
but
will,
only that. Latonya, they'll
that's
never
it.
use
That's
it after
the only
that.
we'll
Yeah.
never, we'll kill it. We'll like we'll be in control. The as long as the United States government has it under control, then everyone knows that it's all good.
Yeah, what's the worst that could happen?
Like, honestly, you know, why would you not, Rose? Why wouldn't you trust the United States federal government? Rose,
bro, be a patriot. So in order to do this, they need a man who was without fear, a man who stands above the rest, and that man here is Hanlon. Hanlon is apparently he's got some war injuries that have damaged his amygdala, and because of that, he cannot feel fear. And in all of my days in the war, I've never met anybody with such a superpower. And so we know that Hanlon is who they need, and that the attack on Hanlon in episode 1 was simply a test to see if he had what it took to, one, not be afraid while staring down the barrel of a gun, but also to kind of go above and beyond and figure out that this was not some, I mean, it was kind of a hate crime, but this was not some attack from like some the Soviet spies or whatever. This
right?
Was
it wasn't just a hate crime.
It was a hate crime, and then some other stuff too.
Right?
You know, he got beat up and hit with an iron pipe, but in the name of patriotism and national security.
Yeah.
So he has to be okay with that.
Yeah. I mean, that's what you enlist for, right?
Right.
Right. I wouldn't know.
I wouldn't.
Both my parents did. I did not.
Yeah. Salute to the troops, but also not for me. Not for me.
No, thank you. But yeah, so because Papa Hanlon has like the part of his brain gone that had like gives you the fight or flight response, he just is not afraid of things.
Right.
So he's useful, and he was also able to pretty quickly figure out that, like, you know, the white guy who had just been giving him trouble,
Masters,
yeah, like had no idea what he was doing with a weapon, like specifically the weapon that he identified that was used when he was attacked. So yeah, I mean, sure, like a likely reason to hate crime someone is as a test.
As a test. Just as a test. General Shaw will say, like, I know you're probably gonna report me, but like before you do, let me tell you about this war that I'm trying to stop. You know, like this is a matter of life or death here. And so Hanlon does not. Leroy, he does not report him. But like now that I've seen it all play out, he should have reported him. He should have been like, no, there has
Leroy,
to be a better way.
the men.
In the
Leroy,
military, they're taught to follow orders and blah blah blah.
get it together, Leroy. Like, you were hate crimed and you felt someone enter your brain.
Hmm.
Like,
Yeah. We haven't talked about good old Dick Halloran yet, because he is yet another victim of Pennywise's mental games this time around. But Halloran was brought here on a top secret spy mission, and that is to use his shining power that you alluded me to last episode, to hunt down Pennywise. So they've given him this relic, the slingshot, from General Shaw, and he is going to go into the helicopter and they're going to try to fly him over the monster, right? So once he's up there, he should be able to get a good read on things. He should be able to, do the psychic thing and latch on to maybe a location for where he can be found or where these beacons are found. And when he's up there, Pennywise catches him. And we see Halloran deal with some spookiness of his own. He's clearly afraid. And one of the things, and I couldn't tell Latonya, I couldn't tell if this was Pennywise trying to scare him or if this is his grandma trying to talk to him, because his granny, the person who we know teaches him about the shining gift, she's there and she's like, run.
Yeah. This won't be the first time that his grandmother appears, and I've kind of come down on the side of like she's actually there to help him.
Yeah.
Like she, had the shining as well, and people who have had the shining and have passed on have been known to be able to help people who are still in like our realm. So, I mean, he basically just, when trying to locate Pennywise, did a really good job and accidentally like slipped into his mind slash like lair while Pennywise was asleep. And he woke up and was like, "Who are you?" Like, I'm Pam. I'm the owner of this house. Like,
welcome to Derry.
and he was like, "Okay, so you're gonna read my mind? Great, I'll read your mind right back, and also try to make you jump out of a plane to your death while I'm at it."
Yeah. This bonds Leroy and Dick just to where, like, they were already gonna bond because black folks. But like this really does kind of like bring him in because they end up inviting him to dinner and stuff like that. And I think a part of this is that like now that Leroy Hanlon has seen it up close, he knows that Dick is the real deal. Like this is definitely a man with psychic powers, and he reveals that he felt him kind of like trying to enter his mind when he got jumped by in the Soviet test, right? He got jumped there and he felt him in the room. And so again, while they're at dinner and they're eating and he's asking a bunch of questions, he feels him prying into his mind again. But Halloran says, "Hey, I've been inside your head, sir. You ain't got to worry about me, baby. You ain't afraid of nothing." And that's crazy. Like I can't deal with nobody who ain't afraid of nothing. I'm gonna leave you alone, player.
Yeah, he was just like, "Plus, you saved my life, so like,
we good.
You don't have to worry. I will not go there again. I don't want to."
Right. But this to me is very interesting, right? Because in my recollection watching this, I think I remember handling Leroy being afraid at different times. And so I really want to kind of track that, right? Like we've set a baseline for he could look down the barrel of a gun and not even be afraid. Cool. But Pennywise is going to have a couple run-ins with him in the future. And I just want to see if this holds up. Because I remember the first time thinking like, he seems kind of scared to me.
He seems scared.
He seems scared. So it's kind of like, do you need an amygdala to be like susceptible to Pennywise's magic, or is it just magic?
To amygdala or not to amygdala? That is the question.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the way that I've tried to square it in my mind is he is not afraid of any of the things that he like should be afraid of, but he is deathly afraid of his like losing his
His
family.
wife. Oh no! Oh, okay. I thought
Yeah.
you were gonna say he's afraid of his wife because she definitely Pennywise definitely is like it's me, Charlotte, at one time or another.
He's definitely afraid of his wife. Um I mean, I just I am waiting for us to talk like in future episodes about their relationship, because their relationship dynamic changes so much throughout this
Mm,
season. Where it starts off very much with like him not even wanting her to talk about what her old life used to be at dinner with Dick Halloran. Like she can't tell him she used to be a teacher. Like what's wrong with you?
yeah.
Um and him kind of having like the last word, like, you know, very like patriarchy America. But
Right.
like, you know, it changes so much throughout the course of the show. So it's really interesting to see that happen too. So but yeah, we should definitely track that whole fear thing, because that might be a plot hole.
It to me, like I said, I watched it the first time, and that was a very fascinating thing to me about. Oh, it's gonna get you how like when you're scared. But I was like, but if he's the unscarable, then he should be able to walk through these tunnels and stuff like that. Like just like, okay, cool. Like he's alert, but he ain't afraid.
Yeah.
And I thought I saw some fear. That's all I'm gonna say. But we'll get to that later on. Yeah, to your point about Charlotte though, he might feel like I'm the man and I wear the pants in the house and I'm gonna have the last word. But she is very strong-willed and she's not gonna go for that a lot of times. She does really stand on her principles. She is very proud of her time as like a freedom part like fighter and stuff like that. Like so
Mm-hmm.
she like, hey, it is what it is. You know, she's not going to be intimidated by these people in this town. She probably seen what she thinks is probably worse. She came from Shreveport to come up here, so she didn't seen it all.
Yeah.
And so she will come in contact with some of the like more menacing looking characters outside, including Stanley Kirsch, husband of Ingrid Kirsch and a abuser as well.
Mm-hmm.
And Stanley witnesses her stand up for one of the other kids who's getting jumped. It's a bunch of white kids jumping, you know, white on white crime. You know, it's an epidemic. But she goes out there and she breaks it up. But nobody is looking at the kids that are jumping this other kid as if that was a problem. They're all mugging her. Like, how
Yeah.
dare you, you know, be a lone crusader for justice? Who do you think you are, Rosa Parks?
Basically, yeah, like from one person almost hitting her with their car as she
Right.
tried to cross the street to stop the fight, to like the boys all like mean mugging her and be like, okay, fine, we'll fight you.
Right.
Like, and she's like, the hell is going on in this town? My God.
Yeah.
And then she's got to deal with like two closed off boys at home.
Mhm.
So it just, I wish Charlotte could rest, but we know she won't be able
Plight of
to
a black
because
woman.
she's a black woman. So
Yeah, it is what it is. It makes good TV though.
it
So
does.
uh, there are some other black issues going on, smaller issues that will come later on into play. Dick
Can
Halloran,
we, sorry,
huh?
can from now on, can we have a section called Black Issues?
But that's this whole damn show. I really wish we could just like whittle it down to like in the black corner, you know. But like I just really feel like we gotta talk about like all of it, and all of it just intertwines in these black
It
folks' lives.
does.
Dick Halloran is trying to advocate for his black homies in the service. First, they're at the bar and they're talking and having a good time, but the white people are like, "Hey, could you shut that down?" So they have to leave the bar. They go somewhere, they get drunk, and then they stumble back onto the base, and they're accosted and like, "Oh, who are y'all? Show us your badge." XYZ. Dick Halloran drops his name and it gets them past security. Okay, so we know he's very important. We know that he is invaluable to this operation because he is the person they're using to track Pennywise and these beacons. And so he is going to be trying to leverage his importance to just give them a place to hang out. So they go from the bar to like the leaky tent where it's raining on them. They can't even play cards, can't have a good drink. And then by the end of this, he's risking his life going up into the helicopter, about to jump out of it and all this kind of stuff. And they're like, okay, what could we ever do to repay you? Like, can I have us a place for me and my friends to hang out? And so by next episode, I believe we will see him and his friends now have a spot on base where they can call their own. They have to clean it up, they have to manage it, they have to do all this other stuff. But if they do all of that, they should be left alone and nobody will ever bother them. The end.
Yeah. And no one has ever heard of the black spot incident. This
No.
is definitely not the black spot.
Definitely not. Even though we're going to call this location the black spot. Now, I thought, again, I was giving points for imagination out here. I can't give them that much. That I mean, like, come on, y'all. You know how long it took us to come up with the connect and post show recap? Like, you got to put some thought into this. And this is early on. A lot of the good names weren't even taken yet.
This is Stephen King.
That man wasn't doing the right kind of cocaine. Like,
like, I mean, like, that is exactly what I would expect a man on cocaine from New England to call the place where the black people go to hang out, the black spot.
The black spot. Yeah, they could have called it the kickback, you know, but that was probably before their time. They wasn't as inventive as we are here on the recap kickback, Latonya. But yeah, that will definitely come into conversation a lot more in the future. But Latonya, is there anything else from the episode you wanted to flag up before I start just reading you my laundry list of Easter eggs that I may have?
I'm just looking to see if there's anything I want to flag. And I think that we've covered most of it. I will say that we don't, in like our current like parlance, we don't say mumbo jumbo nearly enough. That's something that we need to bring back.
Bring it back. Bring it back. I like to say and whatnot. That's really one of my like old phrases that I really like to hold on to. I know you're a big fan of far be it for me.
Far be it for me.
Going viral currently on TikTok.
No.
But let's talk about the Easter eggs, Latonya. So we talked about, of course, the gift, aka the Shining, that we have in here that they're alluding to from.
I thought you were talking about Beyonce's album.
No, no, I thought
like, the gift.
I thought you were gonna talk about Sir Arlen and Far Be It For Me, the other gift. But the gift that keeps on giving. But no,
stop. I don't know why I said that.
We talked about Juniper Hill, and then we talked about a little bit Clint Bowers, whose name should sound familiar to you.
Yeah, the Bowers are a nasty people, you know.
Okay,
like,
look, I've seen enough.
they're the type of people like in Game of Thrones times where you would have had to eradicate the whole family line just to make sure, you know.
Mm-hmm.
We get Billy Bowers, I think is his name, in the It movies. And he is terrible. He's a terrible bully. And he's written to like the Bowers are written even worse than they are depicted. They do some like really messed up things. And just like it just runs in the family. So just beware whenever you encounter the name Bowers in this universe. It's normally not the greatest person you'll ever meet.
Gotcha. In these episodes, I think in episode 2, there was a portrait of Rita Hayworth that can be seen beside Clint in the bar. And apparently, the King novella that inspired the Shawshank Redemption is called Rita Hayworth and the Shawshank Redemption. And so this was a nod to that. You know, and there's a poster of her and all that good stuff. We did see that big old billboard of Paul Bunyan, and they're putting up a statue of that. And I guess the statue should have made an appearance, I guess, in It Chapter 2. And will be used by Pennywise. What does he do in It Chapter 2 with the statue? I
think it chases Richie.
Okay.
Like it like comes undone from like and it just starts chasing him. It's really dumb.
That's fair.
But there's also I did forget to mention that there's a cameo by Andy Muschietti in this episode, or in episode 3. He is at the circus in the 1908 timeline, and he's the one that's playing the keyboard or like the piano or whatever that is.
Yeah. Okay. We
pops
also
up
have
a few times in the show.
Rose's store Secondhand Rose, Secondhand
Mhm.
Clothes is in several of the King books, including It Chapter 2, and with Stephen King himself playing the store's proprietor. So that's pretty cool. There could be a potential Easter egg in that the man Charlotte sees outside the drugstore looks kind of like a younger version of Norbert Keene, the creepy pharmacist the loser encounters in the films.
Mm.
Let's see, we already talked about Stan Kirsch a little bit, but I guess Kirsch is the last name of the elderly woman that Beverly finds living in her home when she returns to Derry.
So that is actually Pennywise disguised as Ingrid Kirsch.
Oh, okay.
Because like
Interesting.
he like fully, like you can see him like moving his body in like ways that that woman would not be able to do.
Mhm.
He serves gosh, what's her name? Is her name Barbara? What's her name? The
Beverly?
one girl, Beverly. He serves her poop tea.
Oh, like the help.
That
Eat
was
my shirt.
that was pie.
Yeah, I was just saying, close enough, right?
Close enough. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, in detention, Mike loves Christine is written on the chalkboard
Mm.
when Will and Ronnie are in there, and of course, Christine is the novel, that is about that Plymouth Fury that Steve King wrote. And then I
It's
think
a
there's a
great
couple.
movie.
I remember Christine like trying to kill people, but I don't think I've seen the movie in a long time.
I haven't seen it for a while, but it's so camp because it's
Mhm.
like, how would a car,
Right.
you know,
That's the sentence. How would a car?
yeah, how would a car?
Yeah. Um, there are a few other things like some cigarettes that are seen, Pall Malls and things like that that come up in like different books. The Dark Half, I think, is one where that's a big deal. We talked about Shawshank as a place where Hank is threatened with his prison sentence, and we know all about the Shawshank Redemption. During Halloran's vision of Pennywise's lair, he sees a woman floating above him called Grandma, of course, and we talk about how that is from The Shining. And when the ghosts of the dead kids from episode one are swarming, everybody's around, like the cartoonish scene that you talked about not really
Mm-hmm.
loving, you can hear Susie singing the nursery rhyme, Oranges and Lemons, which you can also hear in the It movies. And so those are our Easter eggs as we wrap up these 2-episode review. Latonya, this was fun.
This is just a wonderful break in my day.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm very excited about this podcast.
Again, very dark, twisty subject matter, but we somehow have made light of it in a way that hopefully wasn't too offensive for anybody who's like came here to be like, no, let's really grieve these children. We have moved on, and hopefully you all will be back next episode to talk to us about episodes 4 and 5. I'm going to try to get us some special guests to come on, so we'll see what happens there. But in the meantime, Latonya, what are you working on?
I just did a fantastic podcast with someone who's pretty familiar to Recap Kickback, in that it is Chappell,
Yeah, that's me.
and Mari as well. And we talked about the second episode of A Night of the Seven Kingdoms, and that was so much fun.
Yeah.
Please go check that out. And soon, Gia and I will be starting up our Survivor 50 podcast for Silent Podcast, which I'm like, I'm pretty excited about. I'm not gonna
Yeah.
lie. Like, talking about the mess that season will be with Gia, can't wait. So please find me on for some reason still Twitter and also Blue Sky at LK Starks, or you can follow me on Instagram at Stormborn1222, and I will be posting more about content things there. What about you, Chappelle?
I'm here. Recap Kickback is where you can find me doing the most of my podcasting. Mari and I have a Night of the Seven Kingdoms coverage. Of course, like Latonya said, we should have Jazz from the Was It Good Though podcast on, I believe, this week. And so, or I guess, at the time of recording, I think we've just had Jazz on. We're about to wrap that up actually at the time of when this podcast will drop. So look forward to the Was It Good Though podcast joining us to talk about this new Game of Thrones series. Wonder Man is out. by now, and we should have coverage with Jason Reed and Anthony from the Talking Ish podcast to talk about the entire series of Wonder Man. G and I are still talking about Abbott Elementary, and coming soon, this is America's Next Top Model documentary that's going to be out. And Mari and I decided we're going to cover all 3 parts. It's a 3-part series, and we're going to talk about it here on Recap Kickback. And so we are assembling the crew, all the women that have been harmed and hurt and mistreated by Tyra Banks. Tune in, because we're going to commiserate with you. I guess we're just gonna have a little time. And so yeah, raise your hand. Yeah. And so yeah, tune into all of that and more by subscribing. Recapkickback.com/subscribe. That'll give you access to our podcast feed so you can listen to us on the go. Or if you have the time to sit down and watch us on YouTube, that is youtube.com/@recapkickback. But that is all for Latonya and for myself. You ain't got to go home, but you got to get the hell up out of here. We will talk to y'all next time when we talk about episodes 4 and 5 of It. Welcome to Derry. Peace.
I've been trapped behind Suave Maria, isolated like it's North Korea. Smaller city with some bigger dreams. The wall is cracked, I'm looking in between it. The world is yours, but man, I gotta see it. They say it's hard, but man, I gotta see it. The air I'm breathing can't feel my chest. Wait on life, I wanna hold my breath. I'ma get in my goddamn self.